Hi everybody, and welcome to another open-ended question, this one about model airplanes. With this open-ended question we are going to be looking at equations of lines and also some interpretation content-wise with equations of lines. So, last summer Lynn Zeke purchased materials to build model airplanes and then sold the finished models. She sold each model for the same amount of money. The table below shows the relationship between the number of model airplanes sold and the running total of Lynn Zeke's profit. So for 12 model airplanes, she made $68. For 15, she made $140. For 20, she made $260. And for 22, she made $308. And it says write a linear equation in slope-intercept form, that is y equals mx plus b, to represent the amount of Lynn Zeke's total profits y based on the number of model airplanes x sold. So we really only need 2 points here. Alright, so the 2 points that I'm going to use are the 1268 and the 15140. So we've got 1268 and 15140. And of course, once you have 2 points, you can find the slope. And once you have the slope and a point, you can find the equation of a line. So let's do that. Our slope, this is part A, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. In this case, that is 140 minus 68 over 15 minus 12. That is 72 over 3, which is 24. And we now have a slope. We're going to take that slope and we're going to plug into y equals mx plus b. Okay. So, in this case, we can pick either point that we were using before. I'm going to use 1268 since those numbers are a little bit smaller. So 68 equals 24. We're replacing the m with 24. We replace the y with 68 times 12 plus b. 68 equals 288 plus b. 288 is 24 times 12. Subtract 288 from both sides. We have negative 220 equals, that's an equal sign. That's a horrible equal sign. But equals b. So our final equation, y equals 24x minus 220. That is the equation of that line that goes through those points. So that's part A. Part B asks, how much did Lynn Zeke spend on her model building materials? And I'm going to move this down a little bit here so we can see all these. Yeah, there's part B this time that's hidden from you. So how much did Lynn Zeke spend on her model building materials? Well, there's no real work to be done for this. If she sells no airplanes, she's going to lose money. And the amount of money that she loses is the amount that she spent on the original materials. So y equals 24 times 0. She sold 0 planes minus 220. The 24 times 0 just goes away. Y equals negative 220. Now, I wouldn't leave it as a negative. It does ask how much money did she spend. She spent $220 on those materials. And that's part B. Let's go to part C. What is the fewest number of model airplanes Lynn Zeke needs to sell or needed to sell to make a profit? So, clear this. If Lynn Zeke wants to make a profit, we still have our 12. We really don't need those, I guess. We really just need the equation. So we have y equals 24x minus 220. That's the equation. If Lynn Zeke wants to make a profit, that simply means that she sells more model airplanes in value than what it cost her to buy the materials. So if she wants to make a profit, I'm going to turn this into zero. Zero is what we would call break-even point, where she wouldn't make or lose any money. But zero has to be less than or equal to 24x minus 220. Okay? You have to have more than $0 when you're done with this. And now we're going to solve this like we would have any system of any linear inequality. So we're going to add 220 to both sides, and 220 is less than or equal to 24x. We divide by 24, and we're going to get that this is 9.16 with the 6 repeating is less than or equal to x. So she can't sell 0.16 of a plane. She's not going to break off half of a wing and give it to somebody and demand that they pay for it. That wouldn't make any sense. So to make a profit to be greater than 0, she has to sell more than 9.16 planes. Okay, so she has to sell 10 planes. 9 wouldn't be enough. 9 times 24 is 216. That would be $4 short of making a profit. She needs to sell 10 planes to make a profit. So that was part C. We'll go to part D. And part D says, what is a reasonable value in the range that would be a negative number? In other words, what's a possible amount of money that she could lose? Well, let's start right off. If she sold no planes, we've already talked about this actually. If she sold no planes, a negative number in the range would be negative 220. She would lose $220. And that's good enough for what they're asking for. Okay, but I want to kind of explain the question just a little bit more. If she sold one plane, that would add $24 because she sold it for $24. She'd have negative 196 as part of her range. Now, let's be clear that she can't have any numbers in between those. She's either selling the plane for $24 or she's not. She can't make something in between 0 and 24, so she can't have a number between negative 220 and negative 196. And we could keep doing this. We could say, okay, she sold another plane, she made another $24, that's negative 172, so on and so forth. Okay, once a negative number, any of those are perfectly fine. You only need one. I just want to make sure you understand where it comes from. I hope that this is helpful. You should be ready now to do the open-ended question on airplanes. And if you have any questions, please contact your instructor or feel free to watch this video numerous times. Thank you and have a good day.